So if just the thing I mentioned to you about the Industrial Design Society of America, you might want to have a look at that.
Sure.
You can just Google Ocala, Okala, and they provide 43 different strategies by which you can apply sustainable design.
Great.
So, so as I said, that one covers everything from material impact reduction, manufacturing innovation, reducing impact in distribution, and even how you can steer user behavior so that they use a product responsibly, um, designing in longevity in the system, optimizing the end of life, and all of that. And I think you apply several of these already. But the particular subset, I guess, of sustainable design, which I'm going to cover for this research, is the one about circular economy. And are you familiar with that, circular economy? The circular economy, the typical, the mainstream economy, we say, is called a linear economy, where we simply call it take, make, waste. We take resources out of the environment, make that into something, when at the end of life, it's wasted. So it's like cradle to grave approach, and the opposite of that is a circular economy. It's a cradle to cradle approach by trying to recover. Firstly, having many strategies. One is once the material has been extracted, hopefully that will stay in the system for as long as possible so that it holds its value. So when it loses its value, that's when it gets thrown away. But hopefully through design, that value could be recovered and put back into the cycle and minimize. It's like zero landfill waste. So so this is the main subset of what I'm studying now. And I just want to ask you about whether you apply some of these circular economy strategies. So a lot of the universities in Europe, mainly Delft University, and is promoting this circular economy, circular design approach, and I'm trying to apply that. And in my teaching, I'm wanting to see now how relevant it is to industry. So one such strategy is designing for durability. So and you already have that. You have products which are guaranteed for 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. So that's really reflected in our warranties. So like I was saying, bare minimum 3 years warranty, but probably across the board it's close to 5, and then the workstation's 10.
Yeah. And for the interview, let's just focus on the products which are Australian made. Yeah. Because
so all of our joinery items and all of our workstation tops would be 10 years.
Yeah.
Joinery's 10? Yeah,
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely made for longevity.
And therefore, obviously, you wouldn't guarantee it for 10 years if you know that the product's going to break. It's going to be cost for you to repair that, and also complaints from the clients.
Well, reputation is very important.
Okay. And the second one is designing for standardization and compatibility. So this is about having components which fit into a variety of products. And I think you already mentioned that as well.
So with all of our workstations, because all the tops are made to order, and the frames are adjustable, we can produce any size. So it really fits exactly what the clients need, and there's no wastage in that way. So we don't have to cut things down and throw things away. It's all optimized in production.
And for example, the panels are all the same size, so they can just slap into, or maybe a certain range of sizes, so that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some standards, but certainly like with the workstations, we cut a certain size top, and then the beams would fit to that from the undercarriage with the steel componentry.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely designed to be customized, but with no wastage.
Okay. And then the next strategy is designing for ease of maintenance and repair.
Yeah. So we have a dedicated repair person in our operations team. So they'll do any repairs, whether it's under warranty or not, for as long as we're around, which hopefully is a long time. So things like we were saying before, like gas lifts and chairs, or if there's like a damaged workstation top, we can just repair one section of a whole bank of workstations, or all that sort of thing as well.
And I guess this being a design strategy, obviously everything in theory could be repaired. It's just that if in the design phase you didn't consider how it could be easily repaired, and that means For example, if there are fewer screws in the assembly, then there's unscrewing that needs to happen.
I think what you're getting to is you can't have any part of the whole being too reliant on, if one little bit breaks, then the whole thing's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to get to?
But certainly we design for, any one component can get replaced. For example, if after 10 years one of the steel legs breaks, which has never happened, I don't think it will, but if it does, we can just replace that one leg. You don't have to replace the entire frame because everything's done in componentry. Or for example, at the end of, say if one of our clients moves offices and wants to keep most of the furniture, we can then reconfigure that. Whether that's disassembling it and moving it to a new site, or changing the sizes slightly, maybe they need to be smaller, we can cut down the tops on the side or send them back to the factory to be cut down. Or, if they need to extend the sizes, all we're remaking is tops.
So the repairability issue is, for example, if you look at the Apple iPad, this has been well criticized as a product which is almost impossible to repair. Like the battery is not easy to replace. To replace that, so much work has to be done. And obviously the harder it is to repair, the more expensive it becomes because the repairman will be charging per hour, and if it takes him 3 hours to disassemble it, compared to something which has been, had this thinking in the forefront that if the battery has to be replaced, it should be easy to,
And so exactly, we think of it the same way. So, for example, one of the power boxes in one of our workstations on the showroom broke the other day. And it was really easy for the software supplier to come in and swap it out and then use those parts for something else.
Okay.
So things like that. Gas lifts we keep mentioning. Arms on chairs. Our monitor arm system as well is a really good example of design for longevity. It's all componentry, so if you need to add an extra monitor arm, you can just add a couple of extra components rather than completely redo the whole thing, and you can reuse components and all that
and I guess
things as well.
A lot of designers, they want, for aesthetic sense, they try to hide all the screws out, in all the very difficult positions, and then when you try to disassemble it, it's all.
It's like, how do I even get it? No, like for our products, we obviously have a team of installers and professional installers, but certainly we could provide, if someone wanted to install one of our desks themselves, they certainly could do that, and we'd provide them instructions. I could install one of them. Gareth has. I haven't given it a go, but I'm trying to. It's very easy. All you need to assemble our workstations is a drill.
No, but sometimes it's easy to assemble, but to disassemble could be difficult.
Easy. So they just have to, you do have to get under the desk, but you can see where all the screws are, and it's quite very easy to access with a drill. And then once the tops are up, it's very easy to take it apart.
Like I visited the Wilcan factory in Germany. And I think one of their strategies is that we don't use any glue for the upholstery, so that when the upholstery needs to be removed, you can separate the foam from the fabric easily. So that is one way of saying it's designed for ease of maintenance and repair.
With our upholstery, we certainly use glues that are better for the environment, and with our workstations, for example, the glue is water soluble, so that's really important. With our workstations, we don't use any adhesives. It's all powder coat steel, and then the plastic caps, for example, with the feet and in the beams has plastic caps. All of that's made from 100% recycled. I think it's PET, and none of it just snaps into place. It doesn't require adhesives. So all of that can be pulled apart and disassembled for recycling or reuse.
And something I mentioned already is design for upgradability. So if we have this model of a table, for example, and you get more features.
So we could cut out power boxes and things like that, and then if we need to. If they want different size tops, we can disassemble it, take them back to the factory, get them cut down. That's easy as well, and we do that a bit. Because all of the, like I was saying, all the undercarriages of the tables are all telescopic, you can change all of that without having to. So if you want like a different size table after 5 years, you want to make it smaller or bigger, we just change the tops a little bit. And we can do that with not a lot of drama, and
Yeah. And we mentioned, we already discussed design for disassembly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the point here is that if something is easy to disassemble, it's also good for you as a manufacturer because it takes you less time for your workers to
exactly
to disassemble it.
Yeah. So I mean, we move things around here all the time, and I've seen our installers disassemble things. It takes them 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, we reuse things here.
So what makes it easy to disassemble? Is it like everything's with screws
it's
or?
screws. It's just simple wood screws. There's probably half a dozen used per workstation, and that's it. By the time you drill, if the workstations are all assembled, by the time you take the screws out, pop the tops off, then everything else is just pretty easy to disassemble. Yeah, literally all you need is just a drill.
Yeah.
I'd say for like 99% of our furniture.
For sure.
Yeah.
I guess a typical problem, like even when I move houses, I have to want to disassemble my furniture, and the screws have rusted.
Yeah.
That's the main problem, I guess.
Yeah.
So like maybe.
For ours, they're like super simple screws, like you can get them at any Bunnings.
Yeah, but if they're already rusted, you cannot unscrew them.
Oh right.
We should hope that most of our stuff is not outdoors or anything like that, so it's pretty. Rust is not an issue we would have.
Yeah, because most things are in offices as well, so.
Hopefully.
They tend to be pretty easy to disassemble and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so and design for recyclability, and this is not about. This is more about how. This is related to disassembly, I guess, because for recycling you have to separate them into the different materials.
Yeah.
So how do you build that into your designs?
Well, certainly by using the least amount of materials that we can. So particularly
the variety of materials.
So keep that to a minimum. For example, with all of our workstations, it's all powder coated steel, and then with the recycled plastic componentry, that's it. Like it's literally two types of material. And then the workstation tops, we use the E0 substrate, so they use the E0 glues, and there'll be more information on that on the Laminex and Polytech websites. But that's very important to us because you can get E1, but E0 is more environmentally friendly, so we use that.
It is about the off-gassing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Formaldehyde content.
The formaldehyde content, which functionality for us is a bit more of a it's a bit harder. So when you use the E0 glues rather than the E1, the boards aren't as structurally strong. So that's something we've had to overcome, but we've done that because the environmental benefits of using E0 was great for us.
And you still use particle board as a substrate?
So the particle board or MDF.
Only MDF or?
Depends. Sometimes particle board, sometimes MDF.
And plywood as well?
No.
Rarely.
Yeah. I mean, we use plywood on our podiums, but we wouldn't use plywood for a workstation top.
Unless it's specified specifically.
Yeah, but it doesn't seal and it sort of bends. It's not a great material.
It's not a consistent product.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for workstation tops. For furniture, I'm sure, like plywood furniture, plywood is fine. But for heavy duty commercial use, plywood's not great.
Like this table would have MDF?
This is MDF substrate.
Yeah. But again, all of that, in terms of the melamine, the raw material, the information for that is from Laminex and Polytech. And then the edge tapes, that's all from a brand called Surteco, which is S-U-R-T-E-C-O. S-U-R-T-E-C-O, Surteco.
That's the edge banding?
Yeah, so they do the ABS edge, but they also do the prints, so the timber grain print.
Okay.
So
design the prints for them.
Yeah. So the way that
so instead of coming from Laminex, this would go.
Laminex so the way that melamine works is so it's got the substrate and then it's got the
leaf.
Yeah, the leaf, which is essentially like a big piece of printed paper.
Yes.
And then it gets coated. So the plywood, it's not the plywood, I'm talking about the MDF and particle board substrate is made in Australia. There's a couple of plants that do it.
And then a couple of the guys are starting to get their own paper mills and their own, so they're doing everything themselves.
Yeah.
And probably they will do their own paper as well eventually. But
so
what does it look like? Is it these things?
Yeah, it's just paper, and then it's coated. So the paper, the substrate is local. The paper, the edge shape, and then also the cover. That's all from Mexico. So that comes out of Germany, and they've got like the world's biggest manufacturer.
They make it exclusive for certain brands in Australia, so that Laminates and Polytech don't have the same prints.
But it's the same stuff.
Same stuff, same, but just how they keep their
So
differentiation.
is that a Sorteco?
Yeah. So pretty much everything except for
there are a couple other overheads overseas, but Sorteco is like the main one in the Australian market. But there's lots of laminate suppliers in Germany.
Oh, for sure. But they supply basically like
Yes.
Australian.
Okay. I thought they were Australian.
Sorteco?
Oh, yeah. No. Okay.
Originally German.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Germany.
All right.
Sorteco supply to Laminates and Polytech, but then they also have their own brand, which is a lot more high end.
Okay.
Not more high end, but like, it's a more exclusive product. But yeah, no, they're German. But it's very cool.
And then the next strategy is called design for end of life recovery. So these would be things like product take back.
Yeah, so we've
and
got
remanufacturing.
stewardship.
Yeah.
So we do it on anything that's a FARDI. I mean, look, like officially we do it on the FARDI green.
Is that
certified.
required?
Yeah, it is required. But look, we do it on anything, to be honest.
Required for green.
Yeah, required for green. But if someone said to us, like, look, we've got, like Gareth was saying before, we've got 50 chairs.
We'll always try and find at least a bare minimum. You'll try and find a home for, if you can. That's the problem.
Yeah, and we always recommend that if people do have old furniture that they don't need anymore, when they do come to us for a new fit out, that if they don't want to reuse it, and often we do help them reuse it, we do recommend that they give it to charity so that they can reuse it.
It's a charity organisation.
So what are examples of these charities which receive them?
Salvation
Yeah,
Army.
Salvation Army we give a lot to.
It's probably one of the main ones.
Who else? What's that big one? We do a lot of rollouts for charities, but there was one where we did donate. They reused.
So would they be selling them in the Salvation Army stores? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
I suppose that's up to them. Up to them. They
Yeah.
might be donating it in different channels, selling it if it's sellable quality, but
Yeah. Or using it for their own office spaces.
Yes.
which
Okay.
has happened before as well.
Yeah. So charities will just reuse the furniture in their spaces.
Okay.
I think we've built up a good, because a lot of people draw a line between people trying to get rid of junk to charity organisations and giving legitimate usable product.
Yeah.
We have a really good track record, and they'll come to us anytime because they know what we're going to give them is still good quality stuff, but just people are.
So do the customers, is there a trade-in value for their old stuff, or
No.
you're just volunteering to take away their?
Aftermarket
They're
furniture,
unwanted.
unfortunately, doesn't have much of a.
I think there's one person that sells it successfully, but like very like eBay kind of style. I've heard. I can't remember what they're called, but look, it's people just won't. The amount of times I've had clients say, "Oh, I could sell it."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's a
"You
function,
can-"
not a value. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's finding another function for another place.
And I guess it's a business expense, so the
That's the thing,
company
it's
will
like
have
this.
recovered the value of that already,
Exactly.
and it's zero value at the end of
Yeah,
3 or
right.
7.
If they
you
got
know.
their 3-year lease, if they got their 5-year lease, if they got their 10,
Yeah.
Exactly.
they're happy.
And
Yeah.
we're probably doing the service
Yeah.
by removing all the unwanted stuff instead of
Yeah.
them having to find a,
Yeah. Certainly to get someone to get rid of old furniture when it's expensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's required for the AFRDI certified, but you're doing it for all your products. Huh?
Not for all of our products. Look,
Yeah,
it depends on the project, depends on the situation.
Yeah. And obviously whether
because like
it's
I
still
said,
good
there's a line between somebody trying to get rid of all their stuff and
Yeah.
throw it onto somebody, and somebody actually want to environmentally, sustainably getting rid of something or passing it on or
Yeah.
yeah.
putting it forward. So there's a fine line between that.
Yeah.
And another strategy is called designing for access versus ownership. And the strategy here is that it's like car sharing. If instead of everybody in the street owning their own cars and everybody just paying for
Share.
access,
Well, I
same
guess
thing
that's
that we
it,
do in a
yeah.
library or in a gym, we're sharing equipment rather
Yeah.
than buying all our individual equipment. I've seen in your website you actually have a rental scheme as well.
Yeah. We don't rent. Well, we pass them on to a leasing agent, and the leasing agent will buy the furniture, and then the company will lease it from that leasing agent, and at the end of 5 years or 10 years or whatever, then yeah. So we're not hugely involved with it after the initial transaction. Yeah, certainly.
But then to clarify, that leasing strategy that you have is that for people to try your furniture, and if they are happy with it, they continue purchasing the products. Is that the way it works?
It's more like not really. It's kind of like
sort of to hedge capital expenditure.
Yeah, it's more of a financial.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're not paying a big lump sum to start off with.
Yeah.
They're leasing the furniture over time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the main.
So it's not really anything other than like finance.
Yeah, I can get that. So.
Yeah, like leasing a car. That kind of vibe.
Now this model, I guess, comes from Electrolux in Sweden, where they equip an entire community in Sweden with washing machines, free washing machines, but they are not owned by those households. So instead, they pay for the use of the washing machines. So and then at the end of life, or when the households don't want them anymore, they recover them back, and then they refurbish that so that they can use that elsewhere. I think it's probably unheard of in the furniture industry.
In fairness, yeah, there's probably not a huge market for it.
That's the whole thing. It's what you do with that furniture afterwards.
Yeah.
It's what you do with that furniture.
Because they're just like, it's sad, but there's just no market for secondhand
Yeah.
office furniture.
Huh.
I would say.
There's no market for second-hand furniture?
Office furniture.
Yeah.
I mean, secondhand design furniture.
And that's
Yeah.
why it's
But I
finding,
mean, you
and
can't
that's why I
say-
say it's a function over value. It's finding it to be functional for somebody else, to be useful,
Yeah.
because its value is what the person can do. It doesn't have a monetary value. Even
Yeah.
the second-hand car's got more, because after 10 years, I can get a certain amount. There's no way you can't go on furnituresales.com.au
And know how much.
and
you
buy,
can get.
get 2008 furniture is now worth 20,000,
Yeah.
not 100,000.
Yeah.
It's
And also recovering the used furniture from the customers. Does that cost you?
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay. But you shoulder that cost.
Yeah.
And after that you don't recover that cost because you donate it to charity. So.
But we've got a whole logistics team, and we have all our own trucks and everything like that, so the cost isn't.
But you could also think about it like you've delivered a full truck
Mhm.
of brand new furniture,
Yeah.
and you're just, instead of the cart going back empty.
Kind of, it sort of depends on the timeline. So, I mean, the trucks will never come back empty because they'll take all the packaging with them. But in terms of doing a swap, usually in terms of timeline, you get all the old furniture out of there much sooner because they might do other refurbishment work. So they basically, with offices, they tend to gut them, and then new carpet, new paint, different partitioning, new kitchen, joinery, things like that, and then the furniture comes in last. Yeah.
And just when you say packaging comes back, so it's just all the plastic
Plastic, and then like all of
bags.
Yeah, so the plastic bags and chairs, but then
Cardboard boxes.
cardboard boxes.
Oh, so they still have cardboard boxes. I didn't see cardboard boxes there.
Oh, all the steel storage, not the chairs.
Not
so
the
the steel
chairs.
legs and things will be boxed.
Okay.
Yeah, all the steel legs are boxed in 100% recycled packaging.
And did you
then
say
we recycle
you
it.
reuse those cartons?
We recycle those the cardboard packaging will recycle, and then the melamine tops don't get packaged, and they just go to the side stacked on top of each other. So there's no wastage there.
But did you say the plastic bags get reused?
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
I
they
understand.
get reused, yeah.
And you also had some expanded plastic on wrapping for the legs.
Yeah. So that'll all get recycled and reused if we can.
Any of the boxes are reused.
Yeah.
They can be. It just depends on
What we need.
Do you have used any styrofoam here?
styrofoam.
Yeah.
Not really.
Mm.
It's not very popular in packaging anymore.
Plus for us,
Not for furniture at least. Maybe some products.
yeah.
Still.
I mean, it's pretty important for all of us suppliers that well, for us, like not to use packaging that's bad for the environment. Because we just go through so much of it, I guess, as well. That
Mhm.
we want it to be recyclable. But yeah, in terms of delivering things to site, we don't need a heap of packaging because the truck drivers that we have are experts in delivering furniture, which is very different to delivering boxes.
Yeah. One other strategy here, which I also teach in my subject, is designing for emotional attachment. And what this means is that if you love a product, you're going to
Yeah.
take care of the product
Yeah.
and not throw it away so soon. But I guess maybe again in commercial furniture.
No, it becomes an emotional purchase for sure.
Look, the emotional side of office furniture is you want to do a fit out to do well for your staff, to show a certain image of your company, to do. That's where the emotional attachment come in.
Yeah.
Would you love it like a couch that you buy on the weekend and that's where I sleep every Sunday? No,
Yeah.
not really, but
Yeah.
there is emotional attachment. So he's right. Like it's an important thing, and it's an important thing for people put a lot of value on
Yeah.
their place of business, their livelihood.
And how it functions as well. Like if we can create a really functional space for them, then yeah, they'll certainly get emotionally attached to it because they'll see increase in productivity and increase in staff happiness and things like that. Yeah, and I mean it does become an emotional sale as well. I've certainly had, you know.
I like
Drop
seeing
it.
a finished product.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So do you offer any services by which, for example, they can maintain the almost a brand new quality of your leather chairs, for example, so that you can help them preserve the.
Yeah, so we provide care and maintenance warranties.
Do you have that?
Yeah. So all that kind of thing.
Every chair's got one underneath.
Yeah, every chair's got a tag.
And
Yeah,
they've
we
got-
provided care and maintenance manual for them with every
Ah,
product
okay.
that they purchase. Like I was saying, we've got pretty well-rounded after-service care as well. So if they want us to come out and show them how everything works and how to clean things, then we'll do that as well.
So you have that service of an after service
Yeah,
taking care of
yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like an unlimited
We
service.
can,
so
yeah, we
you
can
don't
organise
buy
things
this
like
stuff or-
steam cleaning, sealing.
And
Yeah.
but do customers actually avail of those services?
Of course, some people take it up. Some people say, who do you recommend? We want to increase the life of our screens. There's fingerprints because over time people have,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
say, use this, it's not going to ruin the colour, it's not going to ruin the integrity, it's good for the environment, there's no chemicals, and cleans it, and then it looks brand new again. All of a sudden they've got new
And
furniture again.
Customers would avail of this like every once a year or.
Depends on the customer.
Look,
really.
you could say that, but then you'll have a week where you've got people asking you, how do I, get the stains off my chair? How do I stop the stretching? All these sorts of things. So, as each one comes, we try and help them.
We certainly
helping
know
with
it's
longevity.
Yeah. There's always someone here that can answer those sort of questions, and if they need us to go out to their office to show them, how to clean leather properly or whatever, or give them suggestions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We offer for certain applications, so say it's being used in healthcare, we might pre-seal the furniture
Okay.
to a different, beyond what is the factory.
Standards.
Yeah, so
Or
we might-
recommend an upholstery that's appropriate.
So that they can
for
put use disinfectants
Yeah.
on them.
Disinfectant, so
Bleach.
it's suitable for a hospital or a
Yeah.
medical centre, or we might use a waterproof fabric
Yeah.
that is already authorised for healthcare use. I think that's a huge thing for longevity as well.
And then with our sales team as well, they're all experts in furniture, so they'll understand what's required for each different fit out. So like Gareth was saying, if it's a hospital, we'll make sure that the products that we suggest are suitable for that environment,
Okay.
and that certainly helps with longevity.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that all helps. Well, that's actually my last question. But I have another question. So what I'm doing now, this is just really a short study, and this is supposed to be finished in November. And at the end of this, I'm expected to come out with a journal article.
Great.
But then the participants, we can anonymize you so that whatever you said doesn't have to be attributed to you. I did mention that also that but if you have examples of best practice that you want to actually showcase in that article, you can mention that to me as well. as I've mentioned to her, I mean, you're actually the first company that I visited for this project. So I'm still about to learn from others, and I'm also visiting companies in Melbourne and in Perth and in Adelaide as well. Um, but then what is also expected is that hopefully this could become a bigger project where um, the principles of circular economy, designing for circular economy, could be applied to various industries. Um, and there are ways by which this could work. The government has what's called an Australian Research Council. That's a government agency which gives money for universities to pursue research, and they have this what's called the industry linkage scheme. And what happens there is that if we're able to convince industry that way university has a research project that could benefit a particular industry, and we approach that industry would be willing to provide funding for the project, and the funding could be a commitment of both cash and expertise or time, in kind as well as cash. But whatever total value of that contribution from industry will be matched dollar by dollar by the Australian Research Council. No? So hopefully this, by getting introduced to the industry through these interviews, I'm hoping that I could find some interested industry partners who could work with University of New South Wales in applying design for sustainability or design for circular economy in, So this is typical model which happens also in Europe, where usually it's a 3-year project, and within the 3-year project we provide a PhD scholarship for a student. That student will apply all this and work with the industry partner to come up with what's called a demonstration project, which applies the principles of this circular economy or sustainable design into a particular product, like a piece of furniture, and that could be used as a joint project between the industry partner and the university, and in the end that student will become a PhD in the end.
Yeah, right.
So what have you engaged in any such industry partnership with university? Would you think Krost would be open to becoming part of that?
Look, it depends on the requirements and everything, but contact us.
Yeah.
We'll tell you.
I mean, keep the dialogue open.
Keep the dialogue, and that's what I'll say. We'll say if we're interested at the time, or.
And is Krost part of any, like, Australian Furniture Association, or is there an association of commercial furniture manufacturers?
Well, I guess we're like a preferred supplier.
Doesn't sound like you're part of any group.
There's
not really.
There are, but nothing that's really that you have to be a part of in commercial furniture.
No.
Yeah.
Because now the only reason I ask that is that it could also be that instead of university partnering with individual businesses, it could be with the industry association.
Yeah.
But you're saying, you're not active with any industry association.
Not that I know of, really.
There's an Australian Furniture Association.
But not commercial.
Not commercial.
That's pretty broad.
It could include sofas and beds.
Can be anything.
Well, I think that's more like the residential.
Yeah.
Whereas commercial is like a whole other kettle of fish, I think. Because I know people like Colt would be.
Colt?
Yeah.
Is that a commercial furniture company?
CLT. But they're European. So
okay.
All their stuff's European.
Yeah. But the other.
Except you know Adam Goodrow?
Who's that?
Do you know Adam Goodrow? He worked at UTS, but he's also
No.
a famous industrial designer. He works.
Oh, Adam Goodrow.
Yeah.
So he's with Colt?
He designs a lot for now.
Yeah.
AU, I think they started.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of local manufacturing.
Yeah.
Which is like semi-commercial. Like he does some commercial stuff, but like not massive.
What other companies are you gonna see?
So in New South Wales, I'm visiting Sebel, Australian workstation manufacturers.
Yeah. Are you going to Thinking Works?
Yes. Thinking Works.
Or
Zenith as well, yeah. I've got student graduates from all of
there you go, so it's easy.
So they're helping me.
Because Zenith do a lot of local manufacturer.
So you know people at Thinking Works?
Well, Lauren, who's at AWM, she used to be Thinking Works.
Okay.
And Rod, do you know Rod Walden?
No.
Red hair, Anyway,
From
he works
UTS,
at UTS,
yeah.
he used to be at Thinking
Okay.
Club.
So many of my former students are now
Yeah,
working in
now
Zenith
Think-
and,
yeah.
and in Wilcan,
Yeah.
at Schiavello.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're all my contacts
Oh,
there, and then
cool. Yeah.
they're helping with this project as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other partnership I could I'm thinking of now is maybe with the AFRDI
Yeah.
because
yeah. Well, they're down in Melbourne.
they're no in Tasmania.
And
Oh, they're
they're,
in Tasmania.
they
Yeah,
are
they're
actually
in
in Tasmania.
Tasmania.
Every time we get something tested, you have to send it to Tasmania.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you consider yourselves as part of AFRDI or you're just customers of their testing facilities?
Well, look, you're a part of it. Once you're a member, I suppose.
Are you a member? So
Yeah,
is
we-
there a membership?
Yes, there is. Okay, so in order to be able to show their logos
Oh yeah.
on your website, you have to be a member. You can use, like you just said, you can use their testing facilities and you can have an AFADI certification.
Yes.
But you can't, without being a member, I can't put the blue tick on my website. I can say this chair is AFADI 6 approved,
Yeah.
but I can't use their logo.
Okay.
Whether or not, I don't know why they have, but that's the,
So you have to pay membership fees.
yeah, we're a member of AFADI.
But is it also possible to become a
and
member
there's
without?
and then there's a board of AFADI.
Oh yeah.
We're not a member of that, but then certain prominent people in the community, I think, are part of that board of AFADI of what should
Yeah.
be the metrics whereby chairs are measured against and all that sort of stuff. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then there's weight rated ones, there's
Yeah.
AFADI leather, there's green, there's blue, there's
All the different bits and pieces.
AFADI
Yeah.
4 and 6.
I think they're part of University of Launceston.
Who?
FRD. They're
They're
within the
probably-
campus of the university.
Yeah,
So-
look, they've definitely entered the market in a very, very prominent
Yeah.
point. They're the main certifying body for sure.
So is it a fixed annual fee to be a member of FRD?
I'm not even sure exactly, but I know we became a member very recently.
But I'm just wondering whether it's tied to the number of chairs or furniture that you have tested.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just you're a member and it probably supports the organization.
Mm-hmm. And then the laboratory testing fees is separate.
Of course,
That's where
because
the
look, at the
difference-
end of the day, they are doing a good thing and they're certifying things and they're doing a good thing for the commercial furniture space, but it's still got to be a commercial thing for them. They've got to keep the wheels
yeah.
running. They've got to have the facilities running, and they've got to be able to certify things properly. So,
Well, that's all I have to ask. Do you have any question for me?
no.
But then if you think of anything else, just shoot us an email.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice to meet you both.
Thank you.
And thanks for allowing me to come here and show me your facilities.
Well, good luck with it all.
Yeah.
No, send me the findings when you're
Yeah.
the report. I'm interested. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
See you.